Hey there, Cosmic Warriors, and welcome back to another video. And if you are new here, my name is Hannah. I am a Western Practical Astrologer. Okay, so I am here today to present the full moon in Taurus. Yes, we're going to be talking all about the final full moon with Pluto being in Capricorn for the next 200 years. So it's a big one, folks. Now, before we do dive in, please make sure to comment, like, subscribe. If you do enjoy this information and you find it to be helpful, thank you so much. And if you would like to book a reading with me, you can visit my website, hannahselsewhere.com. There you can also find all of my astrology products. Now, this full moon is going to be happening then on the 15th of November 2024. And there's quite a bit going on. So this is just a quick overview and I will break the information down. So naturally we do have a bit of an easy opposition happening because whilst the sun and moon oppose each other for this full moon in Taurus, we also have Sun connecting with Pluto for a sextile, and then we also see the moon trine Pluto aspect as well. And Pluto is on the move. We're going to be saying goodbye to Pluto in Capricorn very, very shortly. It will be a matter of days. So basically, the full moon will happen, and then a few days later, Pluto will enter Aquarius. And so it will be the end of an era, but also the beginning of a new one. Furthermore, we've got Uranus retrograde conjunct this full moon, plus Pluto is conjunct Ceres. So Ceres and Uranus are a part of this story. So a conversation happening between Taurus and Capricorn within our charts. Even Venus, the very dispositor of the full moon, is going to be in Capricorn. So we're going to focus largely on these houses as we go through your horoscopes today. But there's more, naturally, here to the astrology. We also have the Sun trine Neptune retrograde, whilst the Moon makes a sextile to Neptune. Venus then also creates this sextile with Juno, but Mars creates a square with Juno, so we will touch on that. Plus, we've got Venus square the nodes and Vesta. Of course, Vesta is now in Libra. And then with Jupiter, there is still this conversation going on between Jupiter and Saturn, right, with this square between the two giants. So we have here Jupiter retrograde sextile Chiron, and also opposing Mercury in Sagittarius. But remember that we're going to be approaching this Mercury retrograde. Yes, it is coming up. So there is a bit of a mutable T-square happening. Plus we have this Pallas square Neptune. And the last thing, of course, I want to say is, sure, we've also got Pluto opposing Mars. But I think I'm going to keep more about that for a later date. Okay, perhaps we'll explore more information about Mars and Pluto, because the thing is that Pluto will enter Aquarius, and so I do see that as being a bit more significant with that opposition. And then we also have Mars retrograde coming up. So that's just basically an overview to let you know what we're going to be discussing. But just as a quick reminder, full moons are really about resetting. It's a time to release, it's a time to shed old skin, especially with the full moon then making that trine with Pluto. So Pluto, of course, is going to be leaving Capricorn. So a lot of chapters will be closing around this time period. There's clarity that can be gained, things coming to light, and we can release as well. But you see, we can also reap rewards, especially thinking about what you have been working on, what you've been building, what you've been learning from, how you've been maturing when it comes to your Capricorn house. Indeed, many transformations and renewals have occurred within our Capricorn house over the past 16 years. If you would like to know more information about your Pluto in Capricorn story, I have created videos for all of the signs. Okay, so We also want to think about how this full moon is happening at 24 degrees, and 24 degrees equates to the number 6. So 24 equates to the number 6 in numerology, and therefore what we can suggest about this is how this is a full moon that asks us to be supportive, to be caring, and to be somewhat empathetic. What I even think about here is how there is a conversation happening between Ceres in Capricorn along with Pluto there, and the moon and Uranus also in Taurus. So there could be some grief that comes up here. There could be feelings of loss or sadness, melancholy, things of that nature. So I would suggest here, yes, that this is also a moon that welcomes that empathetic touch, and to maybe even be somewhat kind and nurturing and caring. Likewise, 24 degrees is a Pisces degree, and the Pisces degree is about empathy. It's about even endings and releases. It's quite a spiritual degree in this respect, and I think a part of it is to be able to give ourselves grace and to show ourselves that kindness and self-compassion, I think, is a big thing for this full moon. Then self-compassion. Then another nod to Capricorn is present because this full moon is happening within the Capricorn decan, so it's Saturn ruled. Therefore, here we see another part of the full moon that ties in with Capricorn themes. And like I said, I will be really focusing on the Taurus house and the Capricorn house throughout your horoscopes today. So in this regard, I really do hope that you find the information to be helpful. Indeed, we will be closing a chapter. Yes, endings are coming, and I mean literal endings, because Pluto is going to be leaving Capricorn. Moving on then to this information, we're just going to go over the common themes I notice, and then we're going to move on to your horoscopes afterwards. Alrighty, what we see here is that this full moon will illuminate the intentions that we set during the new moon in Taurus, which happened May of 2023. So that new moon was at 28 degrees. So maybe think back to that time period and show curiosity about the intentions you were setting back then with relation to things like your finances, your materials, your resources, your body as well, your values, stability, these things. And what I also want to say, which I think is quite interesting to think about, is how Jupiter had just entered Taurus when that new moon happened. Jupiter entered Taurus, and then we also experienced the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction this year. So that was more around April, May time of 2024. And so what we have been recognizing, and what's been ushered in largely, would be opportunities and exploring alternatives with respect to our resources and our stability. But then we see here that this full moon is going to conjunct Uranus retrograde. So the way I'm seeing this is a full moon that is going to illuminate and bring clarity to new options, new stability options, new resource options. It could be breakthroughs. Naturally, yes, Uranus is retrograde, so maybe there is something about the past few months or number of months that we're revisiting, okay? Something from the past few months that we are also revisiting. So, for instance, if you have been trying to grasp or come to terms with your financial health. Of course, our financial health, it matters. But then you've been experiencing all of these unexpected changes, and things have not been the most stable, and things have been inconsistent. There, of course, Taurus is very much a sign of consistency, but with Uranus in Taurus, that consistency is less. Let's just put it that way. Many surprises and shakeups. So if you're someone who has been experiencing these big jolts or unpredictable shifts within your financial landscape when it comes to your resources, etc., and your security, well, it could very well be that this is a full moon that's going to bring clarity to such situations. It could be a breakthrough. It could be something from the past that comes up and you're able to assess it differently. It could be some surprising news that provides this aha moment. It could even just be an aha moment that kind of feels like it comes out of nowhere, sort of like the lightning bolts of Uranus. It could be an epiphany, a realization. The truth could very well be revealed around this time period, even with the sun shining its light on the moon, and there is that opposition between the sun and Uranus. So yes, there could be some truth that is revealed. There could be something that was once hidden and it comes to light and you can't unsee it. Maybe this is like a call to action. Maybe this is about making some correction to where we're at and adjustments to where we're at, and how we can then make those adjustments so we can refine things, and maybe we can realign ourselves in some way, shape, or form so that we can grasp more clearly where we're headed. And maybe a part of this is even about our values, right? What we value the most. So, indeed, this is a full moon that is going to bring clarity about your material landscape and your financial health. Maybe your body has a lot to say under this full moon. So pay attention to your body sensations. There could be insights there. There could be something about your body that's trying to come through. How does your body feel as we come to the end of Pluto being in Capricorn? Do you want to make a change? Are you tired? Are you worn out? Are you maybe seeking something different when it comes to the next step forward, especially with Pluto then entering Aquarius very soon after? Then with the trine to Pluto, yes, it's the end of an era, the final full moon during our lifetime. How has your life changed? Even just take some time to reflect, to review. Plus, with the trine to Ceres, like I was suggesting earlier, there could be some grief involved, loss, but there's also this ability to be comforting and to be supportive. And then with the moon being exalted in Taurus, how can we be patient and gentle with ourselves under this full moon? Now, with the Uranus conjunction, again, maybe we will be tying up loose ends. And naturally, with that, can we manage to follow things through until completion? Of course, Taurus is this steadfast sign. So maybe there is a certain project or there's a financial situation, a material situation that you want to follow through with and complete before you do move on to something else. So there could be a bit of that happening, or it could be that there's newfound insights and innovative ways of doing things as well, right? There can be this inventiveness and making a difference, making a change there, essentially. Now, with the sun in Scorpio, the sun in Scorpio is shining its light on the moon, and this could be about vulnerability. Again, truth. It could be about trust, protection, intimacy here. And then we also notice this conversation about stability versus permanency. And maybe Uranus in Taurus has been about this. Yes, Taurus is a sign of stability, but that doesn't mean that things are permanent. So Uranus, in a way, has ushered in these realizations that yes, the truth of the matter is that things change. Nothing ever stays the same. So yes, indeed, we see here shakeups and breakthroughs, which can actually trigger our transformations. Even see this conversation between Uranus and Pluto. And then with the full moon connecting with Uranus closely and then making the trine to Pluto, So maybe this is the part of the conversation within the Taurus, Capricorn houses within those areas of our lives. Moving on to how the full moon is reminding us to actually slow down and to show gratitude. Can we stop and smell the roses? Can we stop and even appreciate how far we've come or how far we've come? And recognizing too that transformations don't happen overnight. This is closing a chapter related to the things we hold on to. So we're invited to set ourselves free. This could be about detachment, for instance, with Uranus, right? We can detach from that sense of permanency, maybe, or we can detach from material things that just bring up fear and where we hold on and we don't want to let go because we're afraid of how we might look, or we're afraid of who we might identify with, or how others might even view us whenever we do let go. I think there's something freeing about this full moon as well, to be able to release and to free ourselves from a way of viewing the material world, perhaps, or viewing even our bodies. There could be some kind of liberation there. Plus, we can tie up loose ends for new ways of showing up, just in general, within the material world. Even think about your physical body again here. Now, with Neptune also being retrograde and making those connections with the sun and the moon, we see here that there is an opportunity to visualize, to dream, to imagine, but we can also be idealistic, okay? We can idealize, we can build castles in the sky, we can practice or show wishful thinking, but this can also be about intuition, those insights, synchronicities, symbolism, trusting in the divine. So maybe there is still that spiritual quality to this full moon that we can remember, and that if it is that feels that things do feel challenging or jarring, or it's difficult to truly let go or to truly embrace the new chapter of our lives, maybe Neptune can give a nod to that spiritual awareness. And then with Venus making squares, so there's the square to the nodes, leadership challenges are up ahead too. But we can step up and show maturity, we can take responsibility. No one can hold your hand through this next change, through this next step forward. Of course, even with the nodes, they're going to be changing in January. It's just very interesting to me to think about how this full moon is happening. And then all of a sudden, in the next coming weeks, Venus will activate that degree, that 29th degree in Capricorn. And Venus also comes along after Saturn has just turned direct. So it's dispositor. Saturn will just turn direct. Venus comes along and follows that path of Pluto. And maybe Venus sort of welcomes refinement, sophistication, this ability to build and to bring form to the material world again. And to even, we can look at this as coming from a place of attracting things to us based on the maturity that we have, well, based on the ways in which we've grown, based on how we've matured, basically, over these past number of years, to come from a place of life lessons. And furthermore, we have Vesta making a bit of a square with Venus. So there could be a bit of indecision. We could even see this with the squares to the nodes. Indecision, there could be this sitting on the fence influence. Maybe even the North Node in Aries is still asking us to take the lead, to take the leap, to be courageous in some respects. Then we also see that Mars is squared Juno. So there could be some butting heads, my way or the highway. Of course, these celestial bodies are in fixed signs. Some assertion tension could be up ahead. And yes, we could look at this as Mars is still opposing Pluto there. So yes, we could see that potential power struggle or that conflict present around this full moon. And then the last slide we want to address here is this conversation between Mercury and Jupiter. So the opposition between these two planets, even with Mercury being the dispositor of Jupiter, we have here overthinking, too many options, variety, which direction to take. We may really start to question, which direction should I take? What should I do? What is the next step forward here? Oh, and also just to further add, whilst Jupiter is the dispositor of Mercury, Mercury is also the dispositor of Jupiter. Yeah, it's certainly interesting because both of these planets are in their signs of detriment. Very, very interesting to see. So we could really see some of this indecision present. We could see some biting off more than we can chew, taking on way too much. But I think with Jupiter being retrograde, it serves as a reminder that we can revisit old paths and cycles, and we can also focus more on finishing up projects, maybe tying up loose ends related to our intellect, our studies, and our decision making. Naturally, with that being said, Mercury will turn retrograde very soon, very shortly after this full moon occurs. So we'll have an opportunity to go back in, and there'll still be that opposition between Mercury and Jupiter again. Mercury will be retrograde by that point. So I would really suggest that with that period to be mindful of the kinds of projects you do take on, especially intellectually, especially when it comes to things that you want to learn about, or even just think about technology and communication there, reports and documents, important things in this way. Thinking about agreements and contracts, stuff like that, what you're signing up to. Yeah, there could be some delays. There could be some confusion and inconsistencies there, unreliability, which isn't necessarily a bad thing either. I guess it's just to say be mindful of how much you're putting on your plate, and be mindful that basically just make room for delays. Okay, be mindful of delays and make room for the possibility of things not exactly going to plan. Then there is the sextile between Jupiter and Chiron. So even if there is some of this, which way, which path, where am I headed, can you be brave enough to stand up for yourself? This is about feeling the fire within. You can let your gut, can you let your gut guide you? There's still this call to action in some respects, I think, with Chiron in Aries, and the North Node is still in Aries. So even if there is some inconsistencies and maybe things don't go according to plan and there's all these kinds of errors, it's still going to be okay, right? It can just be a little bit chaotic, but it's going to be okay. You can still learn from those experiences. Now, with the mutable T-square, including Saturn, how can abstract thinking add to our expansive and expansion and contraction story? So this then invites creative visions and wider concepts. Perhaps it could be that whilst opportunities may be limited, or whilst it may feel like it's difficult to make things a reality for you, when we think about that Jupiter Saturn relationship with the square, Mercury in Sagittarius still invites these creative visions, being able to maybe expand our conscious awareness in some respects, to tap into our imagination, to explore abstract ways of thinking and communicating, and to maybe even be open, right? To be open to new possibilities. Naturally, with Mercury retrograde coming up, it will also be important to be mindful of things maybe taking a bit longer, or things not necessarily going to plan, and it's important to review, to reassess where we're at. But greater clarity will be up ahead too over the next few months there. Now, with Neptune retrograde also making a square to Pallas, so Pallas is still in Sagittarius during this full moon, strategies or strategic way of thinking may be a little foggy, a little dreamy. But again, we can play around with these visions. I just think even with the way the conversation is between the mutable signs and with retrogrades and everything, especially with the Mercury retrograde going opposed to Jupiter retrograde, it's still good to brain dump. It's still good to get your ideas out there, to be curious. There could be a lot of really exciting ways of viewing things, exciting ways to maybe present information or to teach, to even look at things like journalism and advertising and marketing. So these things we can explore new ways of doing all of this. But the thing is that with the astrology, it might be challenging to bring form to all of this stuff. It may be challenging to actually get the information out there. So this is why it's important, I think, to do the studying or to explore, okay, how can I enhance my understanding of this? How can I improve my understanding of the information? Just a good time to be inventive and creative, right? Really, this is a key word with it, is to be creative. But also with this Neptune square Pallas energy, try not to believe everything you hear, right? There can be this trickery, this deception, this disappearing act stuff to do with Neptune. So hopefully with Venus being in Capricorn and then Saturn being direct, these energies can help us grasp reality. Maybe even a part of Neptune here is to try to not get caught up in everything that you see when we think about social media, when we think about the online space. Smokes and mirrors, this is what's coming through here. People saying one thing but doing another. Misinformation, deception, lies, all of this stuff could really be about. And yes, this could show up within the media, but this could also show up as a part of ourselves, right? How we can deceive ourselves, how we can trick ourselves into taking on maybe more than we can handle. So hopefully Saturn and Venus can act more as this stabilizing force for us, more of the reality check that we need around this time. Okay, now we're going to get into your horoscopes, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. So, first up, we have Aries. Aries, what is going on for you under the full moon in Taurus? All right, so we have here the full moon happening in your second house of resources and finances. And I want to take you back to the new moon in Taurus, which happened May 2023. You may have set new intentions to do with your resources and your security back then. There could have even been something that you wanted to address with respect to your skills and your talents there. So, with the full moon happening here, this is time to gain clarity. This is time to bring things to completion, or this could be an ending, closing a chapter with relation to your finances or your physical security. But you see, with Uranus involved, this is also about exploring alternatives and new options. You could be surprised by what comes up. There could be breakthroughs here as well that happen. There could be realizations and epiphanies that happen, or it could be that you are willing to be inventive and to be quite creative. You're willing to think outside of the box here. It's certainly an innovative time when it comes to your material world and when it comes to how you share your skills with others. This, of course, is about an old situation. So maybe such epiphanies and realizations are tied to events that came up for you over the past few months. Okay, so for instance, if it is that you've been exploring other ways of earning money over the past few months here, Aries, this full moon could bring some kind of clarity to that situation. There could be something that comes to light, and that thing could very well be tied in with a loan. It could be tied in with debt or repaying a loan, repaying debt. Maybe this is even about managing other people's resources, other people's money, managing large sums of money. This could be some sort of inheritance. This could be about shared resources or joint financial planning. So, thinking about how you wish to plan for the future there, especially with a business partner or your significant other. So, indeed, there could be clarity that's gained maybe because of these kinds of situations that happen. Furthermore, we also want to explore how this full moon is making this trine with Pluto in the 10th house. So we could also see for you that the full moon is going to bring some kind of end of a cycle. There's an end of a cycle to do with your career progression or to do with your life's work or your purpose here. So this could be some kind of breakthrough or a surprise or a turn of events. And then that even is somehow tied to your career path. And maybe you can welcome in greater perspective, lessons learned, life lessons learned then when it comes to your career path or when it comes to your accomplishments and your achievements. Now, the other thing to mention is the very ruler. So the dispositor of the full moon, the ruler of your second house, Venus, is also in the 10th. So I can't help but think that this could be a shift to do with your status, your reputation. This could be about recognition at work. This could be about greater respect. Maybe professionalism is very much a part of this and wanting to come across as professional or to be somewhat of an expert within a particular area. Maybe this is even about you coming from a place of greater integrity and possibly to being really respected by members of authority. Or this could even be about you feeling somewhat uh, attractive amongst the public, as if the public, they are noticing you and they want to pay for your services. They want to basically buy what you're offering. Okay. So, yeah, this could be a full moon that is, in some respects, prosperous, I would say. And I'm really saying that from a perspective of the work that you've been putting in. I think what's important to remember with Capricorn energy is it's more so about what you put into Capricorn that you get something from it, right? If you've been consistent or if you've been uh, putting the effort in and you've been learning from your setbacks along the way, this kind of stuff, then you may find that you are rewarded in some way, shape, or form around this full moon Aries. Thank you so much, Aries. And now we're going to move on to Taurus. Okay, Taurus. So this full moon is happening in your sign. All right. So this is very much about yourself. This is about your identity, your physical body, your aims, your goals, new beginnings, new chapters. And so the new moon happened in your sign May of 2023. So that basically was about you setting new intentions to do with things like your material and your financial goals back then, and thinking even about how such matters are tied to your life path, tied to your identity. So the full moon then will bring clarity to such intentions. There could be something that you release. There could be something that comes to light that you go, right, okay, I see that and I want to let go of that. That's not for me. Heck, you know what? I'm going to be open to the new. I'm going to be open to new options. I'm going to seek alternatives. Or it could be a case of things just happening in unexpected ways, whether you want them to or not. So it could be, yes, something surprising, something quite jarring that throws you off balance a little bit there when it comes to your aims or your goals. But that's not necessarily to say that things are going to be bad or negative, right? It could be an unexpected financial shift, which maybe is even brought to light because of your partner. Maybe your partner's money. Maybe there's something about your significant other that welcomes a change. There's some kind of transformation with them. Or it could be that there is some business situation that occurs. Or maybe there is some kind of breakthrough that happens because of your clients and your customers, and there's greater depth there. There's trust. There's honesty present there. And hey, this stuff could even be through family members, right? Even the sun is the ruler of your fourth, and then the dispositor of the sun is in the fourth there. So yes, there could be maybe some assistance or support coming from your family, coming from your significant other or your partner. And maybe even this is about something happening unexpectedly to your body, such as an unexpected pregnancy, or you just deciding to take a risk maybe and to do something different to your body there. Naturally, with this being said, I do want to remind you that Uranus is retrograde, so such situations could maybe be tied in with an event that occurred over the past few months. So there could be an event that you are actually revisiting there with respect to your physical appearance, with respect to your stability and your relationship with the material world. Now, as for Venus, which Venus is your ruler, Venus is in the ninth, and then there's also the trine to Pluto. So there is this ending of a cycle to do with your deeply held beliefs. This could be about limiting self beliefs, for example. And so maybe there is something here about you gaining clarity about such matters, or this could be about your worldviews. This could be about your religious beliefs there, your morals, your principles. So these bigger questions could come up. But again, we could see this as a big shift. We could see this as a letting go. We could even see this as something coming to an end, right? That the death, so to speak. And then there is that transformation. And then when we also think about Venus, so Venus, like I said, is the ruler. Venus can act as this attractive energy where maybe you welcome something a bit more refined and constructive to do with your beliefs. Maybe this is even about a career path that involves or invites you to train, to take on a new program. There's something educational about this. And naturally, Venus also rules your sixth. So, yes, there could be something about work and your services that come up. And perhaps a part of it is to maybe gain respect, maybe to be patient with yourself, to show professionalism, or hey, to be quite creative about the ways in which you earn money and the ways in which you provide for yourself. I think your resources are going to be a big part of this too. And I think more so through a lens of taking on higher education or wanting to improve your skills in some way, shape, or form. This could be about self-mastery, for example, here, Taurus, right? Self-mastery, teaching, journalism. This could also be about publishing or broadcasting, maybe even exploring legal matters there to do with such areas such as copyright or being recognized for the works that you do, Taurus. Okay, so thank you very much, Taurus. And now we're going to move on to Gemini. So, Gemini, this full moon will happen in your 12th house. So, the new moon in Taurus happened May 2023, and that basically ushered in a new cycle there for you within your 12th house, and you would have set new intentions. So, what was all of this about? We could have seen, for example, you setting new intentions to do with your dreams, to do with your spiritual practices. Maybe even a big part of this is exploring the hidden parts of yourself, to do with pleasure, to do with relaxation and rest, to do with taking your time, being able to slow down. Even with Uranus here in your 12th house over these past couple of years or number of years, I think that this has invited many cosmic downloads and shifts within yourself. It could be that you have been seeking material change. And maybe a part of this is that you haven't been able to fully grasp exactly what that is or what that looks like. But epiphanies have still been happening, realizations and revelations have still been happening, newfound inspiration has happened. And so there could be this part of it where you've been quite creative, artistic, you've been exploring just new ways of doing things there, new ideas, new visions, new dreams. Very innovative indeed, Gemini. And then we're going to also see Uranus coming into your first house next year and into 2026. And that is certainly where we're going to see you being very inventive and experimental, especially socially. But maybe, you know what, Uranus in your 12th has been a good opportunity for you to go within or to go behind the scenes and just work from there, right? To explore those different visions, if you will. And maybe a part of it too is about the fantasy world, exploring your imagination, media as well, maybe, or this could be just in general about greater ease, wanting to rest when you can, and being quite open minded to new ways of relaxing and experiencing pleasure. Perhaps there are epiphanies with relation to how you can make your dreams a bit of a reality there. Or it could be that this is a full moon that invites you to slow it down a bit. You know, it could even be that you feel quite nervous around this full moon, or like there's a lot of energy just rushing through your body, many sensations. Perhaps even a part of this is to be mindful of your body sensations around this full moon and what they have to teach you, what you can learn from them. But then another part of this is the trine with Pluto. So, indeed, we're coming to the end of a chapter for you with respect to transformation, renewal, loss, grief, death, rebirth, all of this stuff, Gemini. So, you could very well find that you close a chapter, you release something because of that perspective, because of the lessons learned, maybe because of your maturity, or because you don't want to repeat the same cycle or you're just ready to move on to something new there. And then we also notice with the sun opposing the moon, yeah, this I feel is about your health. There's something that's being illuminated to do with your health, to do with your routines, your schedules, the order in which you do things, your stress levels, your productivity. Yeah, we could see significant transformation happen when it comes to these things. But naturally, this is also about seeing what you want to let go of or what needs to shift within you in order for that change to happen. And again, I think such shifts and changes are related to, could be your body, it could be, again, your spiritual practices, it could even be, again, when we think about your health, maybe even your mental health specifically, right, with the 12th house activated. Or this could be related to your value system and your priorities. What is a priority? What do you value? What do you wish to honor there within yourself? And with Venus being the dispositor of the full moon, that's in your 8th. So maybe there's something here about intimacy. There's something here about depth and coming from a place of truth there. Hey, perhaps this is related to a committed relationship, partnership. This is about the kind of future you want to have, how you want to grow and build with someone else. And when we even think about how Venus also rules your 5th house, yeah, this could be about romance and love and greater connection there. So, whatever you release or shift, whatever happens within you, again, this doesn't have to be where you're consciously doing this. I think this is more of an unconscious shift here. This could be conscious shift in your awareness, for example, but whatever that is, I think it's tied in with a relationship matter. It could be even tied in with the time that you spend with your children, or tied in with more free time or your hobbies in some way, shape, or form. Even thinking about those areas through a lens of balance, Gemini. Okay, thank you so much, Gemini. And now we're going to move on to Cancer. So Cancer, this full moon is happening in your 11th house. Firstly, let's think about the new moon which took place. So the new moon in Taurus happened in your 11th house back in May of 2023. So new intentions, planting new seeds happened here to do with things like your collective aims, your collective visions, your dreams, your hopes and wishes for the future, Cancer. So we look at this as things coming to possibly an end, or there could be a release, a shift here. There could be greater clarity with relation to these areas, Cancer. But such changes, such clarity could be quite unexpected and surprising. So let's think about how the moon is your ruler. So we think about how perhaps this full moon will welcome some kind of new perspective through friendships, through a team, through a group. And those perspectives, those views could very well push you towards something new or push you toward a different path. Could even be about recognizing that things do fluctuate and things do change based on your mood. And maybe this is one of those situations where emotionally you're just done, or emotionally you're ready for a change. Now, again, it could be that it's something coming from your friends, right? So your friend could maybe deliver something quite unexpected or sudden to you, and that's enough to wake you up or to shake things up within you. And we do want to think about how Uranus is the awakener of the planets. So indeed, this could be more of an emotional awakening, but I just can't help but think that such experiences come via the group. Or, it could even be that there is a shakeup or a breakthrough related to your communities, related to your group participations there, Cancer. And maybe a part of it is that you want to experience something a bit more stable, a bit more steady and comforting. Or it could be that the very stability is shaken up and stirred a little bit. And so you're forced to explore new options. You're forced to explore alternatives there. Again, I just think this is about community, and maybe even a part of it is which kinds of communities do you value, right? Or which kinds of friendships do you value, Cancer? Where do you feel a sense of belonging and security as well? Now, again, with your hopes and wishes being a part of it, maybe there is some unexpected change there. It could be that your priorities with respect to your future visions, they change, and that maybe comes because of a revelation, that maybe comes because of a breakthrough, some group breakthrough. And then we also notice that with the sun being in the fifth, perhaps this is about children, right? There's something here about your children being involved in how things change for you with respect to your hopes and wishes for the future. Or maybe there's something about your creative projects and your hobbies that trigger this for you. Okay. Such as you wanting to spend more time committing to focusing on your hobbies and your projects. And so you base your future aims on how you can dedicate yourself there, how you can be somewhat of a so thinking about self mastery with relation to the sun in Scorpio. But we also want to think about this in terms of Pluto being involved. So Pluto naturally is one of the dispositors of the sun, but then Venus is also there in the seventh house, which is the dispositor of the full moon. So I want to think of this in terms of chapters closing, endings happening, and those endings and those chapters are related to partnership, relationship, something about the shadow being presented to you. Maybe a part of this is about responsibility, integrity. A part of this is about professionalism, self respect, and recognition. So, possibly, this could be some kind of business that comes to a close. This could be a partnership situation or a relationship that ends. It could be a settlement, an agreement that, again, it ends or closes. It could be some kind of contract there. Maybe even a part of this is about joint resources, joint finances. Now, you might also find that other people might want to give to you, or they could be quite generous towards you, given the fact that Venus rules your 11th. So, this could be other people coming from a place of integrity, or this could be a case of other people's gains, or the money that you gain from your business or from the work that you do, right? There could be something about greater pay, or maybe greater responsibility, or being respected by members of the group, members of the team. And we also then see that with Venus being the ruler of your fourth house, perhaps this ties in a bit with your family or your living situation. So for instance, if it is that you start to really build and earn when it comes to clients and customers and business, etc., with Venus there, maybe this is about you being able to provide for your family, then you can support your family. Essentially, Cancer, I think this is about focusing on what you wish to build for the future, for the long term when it comes to your family. Maybe even the recognition you receive or the rewards that you reap with respect to business and partnership, these things somehow can provide greater balance or stability within your family home. Thank you very much, Cancer. Now we're moving on to Leo. So, Leo, this full moon will happen in your 10th house. So let's think about the new moon in Taurus, which happened May 2023. So intentions were set to do with things like, well, your vocation, status, your reputation, what you become known for, your life's work. So this full moon is going to illuminate a lot of that stuff. It's going to bring clarity. There could be some kind of release or ending to do with social status, to do with recognition or long-term success. And maybe a part of this is about exploring alternatives, exploring new avenues, different options available to you, being inventive, thinking outside of the box, being creative, okay? All of the innovation stuff to do with Uranus. So indeed, this could be just a change, something unexpected that happens, an epiphany, a realization that happens. Of course, this stuff could be out of your control. And maybe a part of this is that, okay, well, I can't control this situation. What I can do, though, is I can learn from it. But this could even be about just breakthroughs or breaking away from a particular career path or choosing just not to follow a particular career path anymore or to follow a certain accomplishment or achievement that you thought maybe I want to accomplish this, I want to achieve this, and then you just come to this realization, this epiphany of no, actually I don't. Maybe a part of this is about listening to your intuition and really just listening closely to your feelings and to your body sensations in some respects, Leo. Now, as for the sun also opposing this moon, naturally, perhaps this is about a family situation that triggers this. It could be a family member that wakes you up, so to speak, or provides some kind of truth toward you or honesty towards you. Or it could be that your priorities shift and change because of a family transformation, because of quite a turbulent experience, right? There could be some kind of turbulence. There could be something that ends with respect to a family situation, again, maybe outside of your control. And so that is enough to make you want to do things differently with your life, with your path. Now, another way to look at this could even just be an emotional thing, right? An emotional shift within you, something about your emotional security changes, something about your emotional attachments changes. Perhaps it's even your unconscious. So there's a breaking of a cycle. It could be a breaking of a family cycle, breaking of an unconscious cycle, or a habit, some sort of pattern or habit. So again, such things could very well indicate that you change things, you shift things based on such experiences. Then we also see here that Pluto is finishing up in the 6th. So, maybe even a part of this is about your services and your work, right? A part of why you decide to change career paths, as just one example here, is because of your work or because of your services and what you offer there. And maybe it's that you want to seek greater recognition, for example, or you want to succeed in a different way, or you want to take what you've already built and apply it in a new light, in a more creative way, in an edgy way. What's coming to my mind as an example is that if you have some sort of shop, right, some kind of online shop with Uranus and Taurus, and then this trine to Pluto with the full moon involved, it could be that you have been up against many transformations and renewals to do with your schedules and your routines. And so then this is an opportunity for you to maybe start anew or to start fresh, or to bring those life lessons with you forward, and maybe to apply those life lessons to your shop, or whatever, whatever role it is that you've taken on, or whatever position you have there, whatever you're recognized for. But your life's work is still a big part of this, I think. What you want to build for the long haul, I think, is a part of this. And just even think about how you have refined your skills a lot over these past number of years with Pluto in your sixth house, Leo. And you've really stepped up and proven yourself in many ways. I think this is even about recognizing how dedicated you've been, and how fiercely, you can be, like fiercely independent you can be, how fiercely determined you can be in many respects, Leo. So definitely celebrate yourself, give yourself credit, recognize how far you've come. And the other thing, of course, with this is Venus being in the sixth house. Venus is the ruler of your 10th. It's also the ruler of your third. So maybe this indicates some kind of reaping rewards, something attractive to do with your professional lives. This could be about you focusing a great deal on your finances and your resources there. And again, maybe you gaining recognition, right? I kind of see this as you being recognized at work or recognized for your services. Okay, perhaps this is more so about verbal recognition. So others communicating to you, affirming to you, hey, good job. I recognize you. I see your gifts. I want to work with you. Or, hey, this could just be about you thinking about other ways of exploring your routines and your schedules. And so, because of that, that can help create greater balance in your life, hopefully, where you feel a bit more level. And hopefully, even with Pluto moving out of the sixth and into the seventh, that greater stability and balance can remain more so, because Pluto will not be in your sixth house anymore. Thank you very much, Leo. And now we're moving on to Virgo. So, Virgo, we have this full moon happening in your ninth house. Right. So, from May of 2023, the new moon basically happened in your ninth house. And so, new intentions were set with respect to your higher education, how you broadcast, how you publish, how you share information there. So, this is a full moon that is going to bring some kind of clarity, or things could be released, things could be shed and shifted within you, especially because there could be new options you explore, there could be alternatives that you explore. You may surprise yourself with new creative visions, for example, with different ideas to explore, different ways of doing things. Naturally, with Uranus being retrograde, this could be tied in with a material or financial matter from the past number of months. But again, I can't help but think that material and financial matter, it somehow is also tied in with your teachings, your publications, how you broadcast, stuff like that. Again, thinking about higher education there. And we also could look at this as breakthroughs related to maybe travel. So, if it is, for example, that you want to travel, or you want to jet off somewhere, there could be conclusions within reach here. There could be clarity about the next step forward, especially if it is, for instance, that you've been trying to save for a particular trip and that has proven to be quite challenging. Not necessarily saying that the full moon is just going to come along and it's not going to be challenging anymore, but I'm just saying there could be a breakthrough, okay? There could be a sudden change that happens, which maybe can help you shift things a bit better, hopefully, anyway. And then we also notice that the sun is shining its light on this moon. So we could look at this too as something obsessive or compulsive shifting within you, We could look at this as some kind of transformation or renewal to do with your mindset, to do with your education and your studies, which is enough then to make you change your views or to change your bigger ideas, so to speak, or to change how you present information there to the world in some respects. Virgo. Now, as for Pluto, Pluto is in the fifth, finishing up. So, with the moon making the trine to Pluto, there is a chapter closing with relation to your interests and your hobbies and your forms of enjoyment. So we could see this as you carrying the life lessons that you have learned over these past 16 years to do with your hobbies and how you've been building, how you've been very consistent or determined when it comes to your creativity. So you can bring over those life lessons and you can look at that through a lens of maturity and responsibility and growth. There, Virgo. And then we could also even look at this maturity and life lesson stuff with relation to romance and love too. So perhaps this is a full moon that's going to usher in some kind of closing or an ending. So the ending of a cycle to do with romance and how you approach your romantic relationships. But maybe this is about an epiphany. Maybe this is about something that shifted within you about your self-beliefs. And that those things to do with your self-beliefs are about your self-worth. So because maybe you've explored your self-worth and maybe because you feel a bit more secure within yourself, then this is where we've noticed major transformations and renewals to do with how you approach romantic relationships, such as you feeling a bit more stable and secure within them, as just one example there. Now, with Venus also in the fifth house, of course, Venus does rule your second and your ninth houses. Yes, maybe also with Venus in the fifth, a part of this is about you approaching your relationships, especially romantically speaking, in this steady, mature, responsible way. And maybe too, a part of this is about being able to earn money for your hobbies, for your creativity. So something about your income could change there with relation to your hobbies and your creativity. Or this could be about the kinds of money and earnings through or via your broadcasting, via what you publish with others, via your teachings, essentially, there, Virgo. Thank you, Virgo. And now we're going to move on to Libra. So, Libra, the full moon will happen in your eighth house. So, I want you to think back to May of 2023, and the new moon happened in your eighth house. So, intentions were set to do with joint financial planning, to do with debts, loans, repayments, taxes, insurance, things like that, Libra. So maybe a part of it is about you joining together with your partner, with a business partner, financially, materially there. And so this full moon is going to bring clarity. It's going to bring something to light here, maybe because of an unexpected realization, because of an alternative that you explore. Maybe this is even about you and your romantic partner coming together and exploring different ways of doing things. This could be about innovation, maybe wanting to innovate when it comes to your creativity, when it comes to your artwork in some way, shape, or form, Libra. But still, yes, this is a full moon that could waken you up to a different approach, a new approach. And maybe that approach is tied in with your stability, it's tied in with wanting to create greater consistency in your life and greater comfort within your life. And then when we also explore the sun in the second house, so the domain of your finances and your belongings, your possessions, well, the sun is shining its light on the moon. And so maybe a part of the changes that you make with relation to joint financial planning, these changes are triggered because of truth coming to light, or because of a self-worth matter that happens, or maybe this is about your skill set and how you wish to transform and grow in your power, so to speak, when it comes to your skill set. So yeah, there could be some shift there, but then again, there just could be big themes to do with your resources versus your partner's money, their resources, and how you combine as a couple. Again, this could be a business thing, this could be a management thing. Large sums of money are a part of this. Paying off debts is a part of this. Could even be something about a mortgage. This could even be about something that's quite secretive with relation to debt and money. And I'm not saying that this is coming from you, but I mean, for instance, if it is that you've been the victim of fraud recently, or you've been quite suspicious about people around your money and your resources, things like that, then yes, this could be a full moon that illuminates this stuff. And there are certain shifts that happen, hopefully for the better, of course, with Uranus. And it could even be that, yes, the resolve, right? So how you resolve such material matters, they can happen for you, Libra. I just think a big part of this is about ownership. Could even be something as simple as you getting a mortgage, getting a house in this way, or you investing in stocks and shares, or if you already do invest in stocks and shares, there could be some money or reward coming from such areas. Now, with Pluto also in the fourth house, we do see a closing of a chapter, the ending of a cycle with relation to your responsibilities within the home. We see here that with the fourth house being a part of this, family members could be involved in these transitions and these renewals. So, especially here, if it's triggered or sort of activated the parts of yourself have that has experienced betrayal, or people being quite deceptive, especially family members here with Pluto in the fourth house. Maybe this is a full moon that could illuminate more secrets, right? So more secrets could come up, more information could come up. But on a more lighter note, this could even be about experiencing greater intimacy and closeness with certain family members. So because there is greater trust, you may feel like you can open up and you can share more, or it's that certain family members feel like they can open up and share with you. But then we also think about Venus itself. So Venus is in the fourth, and Venus rules your first. Okay, so it's your ruler. And Venus also rules your eighth. So indeed, we could look at this as intimacy, closeness, familiarity, conversations there about resources and money with family members. Hopefully, because so if you and your significant other or certain family members can take responsibility and just do your part, hopefully then you can feel a bit more balanced and like there is greater harmony present too. Thank you, Libra. Now we're going to move on to Scorpio. So Scorpio, this full moon will happen in your seventh house. So the new moon happened in your seventh back in May of 2023. So intentions were set back then to do with things like client relationships, customers, considering especially the financial relationship there and the value that you put into those business relationships, financial relationships. We also saw new intentions being set with relation to agreements and contracts, especially thinking about, okay, What about my income? What about my livelihood there? Who do I want to work with? Who do I actually trust there to work with? And who can I depend on in some respects too? So the full moon, I think, welcomes clarity. There could be something that's illuminated, something that comes to light here to do with your relationships and your partnerships. Maybe even you decide to let go of an old way of doing things. It could be this whole thing with Uranus of out with the old and with the new. I'm not going to behave like that anymore. Or when it comes to my significant other, when it comes to partners, I'm not going to put up with that kind of behavior. You could even see significant change happening there with respect to your significant other. Maybe such matters are tied to an event that has previously occurred over the past few months. So, yeah, we could see this as you recognizing significant changes within your relationships, or it could be a case of experiencing renewals or exploring new options. Some alternatives could be explored there with respect to partnership. And the sun in your first house is shining its light on the moon. So maybe a part of this is about by you changing, by you transforming, by you going through a renewal, right? Thinking about the self, then that can have a direct influence on your partner or on other people. It's this whole thing of in order to change the world, you got to start by changing yourself. So yeah, maybe this is about you taking a moment to recognize how much you have changed as an individual, how your identity has changed over these past number of years. It could be something even about your body, your physical appearance. Again, it could be about your identity there. But basically, yes, by you evolving and going through these transformations, we could see then also breakthroughs and surprises and hey, perhaps exciting changes to do with partnerships and relationships in some way, shape, or form. Uranus can also be quite an exciting part of the chart. It could be liberating, exuberating there. Indeed, we could see some of this happen for you within these areas. Now, as for Pluto, Pluto is in the third. So, with the trying to the full moon, I mean, maybe we're going to see here a closing of a chapter with relation to communication, your studies, right? Your education there. We could see a closing of a chapter to do with even your thoughts, your mindset, your intellect in some way, shape, or form, such as releasing an old way of thinking, or how by you exploring your unconscious or working with your unconscious over these number of years, you can come to a place of greater clarity or enlightenment. So there could be even something spiritual about this. There could be like a higher calling influence with Pluto being in the third house. But again, I can't help but think that this is about how you show up in relation to others, right? This is also tied to how you approach your relationships, how you behave within your relationships. Maybe this is about greater integrity, greater self respect, for instance. Now, with Venus also in the third house, of course, Venus rules the 12th and the 7th for you. Well, Venus in the third could suggest that you earn money for your communication skills, for your teachings, for your studies, your articles, your blogs, the research that you've done, whatever the content you create. Of course, there's another one, right? Content creation, social media, things like that. Yes, it could be that there is some recognition, you could earn money, but maybe even a part of this is also tied in with clientele, feedback, reviews you receive. And that feedback, of course, can be quite positive. So if it is that you are gaining positive feedback and recognition via clients and customers, maybe this is where we're going to see you succeeding or reaping rewards to do with the information you present or to do with communication. We could also see this being tied in with your imagination, fantasy, thinking about art and creativity when we tie in the 12th house in some respects. But even if it's not about, earning money or resources for your creativity, well, it could just be that this is a period where you feel called to just be creative in general, right? To explore, okay, this is what I enjoy, this is what I like to do. So I am just gonna focus on this and escape a little bit, right? There could be some form of healthy escapism involved. Naturally, this could even be about relationships with siblings or relationships with your neighbors, or even with classmates, or within your social networks, your close networks, relationships, even when it comes to your childhood friends. But with those relationships, maybe there's just greater respect formed, or greater integrity, or greater recognition, or you just feel more of this enjoyment, to communicate, to experience pleasing conversations there with those individuals. Thank you very much, Scorpio. Moving on to Sagittarius. So, Sagittarius, this full moon will happen in your 6th house. So, the new moon in Taurus happened May of 2023. And so, new intentions were set with respect to your everyday routines and habits, your schedules, things like that. New intentions were also set when it came to your health, exercise, your diet, your work, your services, there. So, this is a full moon that's going to bring clarity to such areas. Things are going to be illuminated. Maybe it's that there is an ending, there is a release. It's this out with the old, in with the new. You might explore alternatives. You may experience breakthroughs when it comes to your schedules and your routines and your habits. It could be breaking an old habit, for example. Maybe this is a particular habit that you've struggled with over the past few months, and so you revisit it and there is greater clarity. Now, with the sun also being in the 12th house, well, the sun is shining its light on the moon. And so a part of this could be tied in with your phobias, your fears, self sabotage, self destructive tendencies, how you might get in your own way, right? Your self undoing with the 12th house. So, yeah, I think this could actually be a good release point. This could be a great breakthrough for you, Sagittarius. We could see big epiphanies, big revelations happening for you, especially when it comes to your body, your well-being there. Self-care could be a big part of this as well, of course, Sagittarius. Then when we also look to Pluto being in the 6th house, in the 2nd house, my apologies. Pluto is in the 2nd house, making a trine to the full moon. Hey, this stuff could also be about your self-worth. It could be about your skill set. Maybe it's that you're coming to the end of a cycle, the end of a chapter, the closing of a chapter when it comes to your self-worth, when it comes to how you earn money, how you spend it. Your income, I feel, is certainly a big part of the life lesson here. And how you manage your time, manage your resources, these things are a big part of the life lesson. Maybe as well, a part of this is to do with your work and to do with how you show up at work, and thinking about coworker relationships, things like that. Maybe there is something quite surprising or unexpected about these individuals, and there is a closing. Maybe you decide to move on, for example, from a job work situation. And even if this is not about work, this could be about investments. This could be about a material security situation that maybe comes to a close because your priorities change, or because your schedules change, your routines, right? Your routines change up unexpectedly. Now, with Venus also being in the 2nd house, we could see this as you wanting to maybe explore the ways in which you earn money and how you can build steadily there for the future. But of course, Venus rules the 11th and also the 6th for you. So maybe, quite possibly, this is other people giving to you, or This could be about charity. Maybe this is about setting up some kind of scheme or a cause in some way, shape, or form. Maybe it's that you want to earn money for a cause or for a charity, for instance. Or this could be about you being sponsored by somebody. Maybe this is even about the gains that you make from your business, for example, or the gains that you make for your services. Or just in general, this could be about being mindful and patient and cautious about your resources and your finances right now, especially if there is something unexpected that happens at work, as an example. But again, I just want to try to move away from work all the time. This could also just be about your art, your creativity, how you spend time creating there and making room for your creativity in some respects. And you could do that with friends. Okay, maybe this is about enjoying yourself with friends, spending some time with other people within groups. This is about clubs that you're a part of, and just welcoming in more of that social, I guess you could say, that social time, and how that social time can even help you feel a bit more at ease or a bit more secure. Thank you very much, Sagittarius. And now we're going to move on to Capricorn. So Capricorn, we have here this full moon happening in your 5th house. So let's think about how the new moon in Taurus happened May of 2023. So that new moon ushered in new intentions, planting new seeds to do with children, your creativity, how you play, how you have fun, thinking about your free time, your time off, all of this kind of stuff, Capricorn. And so this is a full moon that's going to bring some sort of clarity. There could be a release, things could come to the forefront of your mind, and maybe you decide, hey, you know what, I let go of that, I want to change that. Could be something unexpected. It could be a realization, an epiphany that happens, maybe about your creativity, about how you do your artwork. Perhaps this is even about pleasure, right? So pleasure and fun, enjoyment, free time, all these things. And so, yeah, this is about you seeking alternatives, wanting to explore new avenues, new ways of doing things, new creative visions. Plus, with the sun in the opposite house, shining a light on the moon, the sun in Scorpio could be this activation of, okay, how do I wish to transform within my groups and my teams? What even sets me apart from other people? What about my uniqueness? What about challenging the status quo, challenging authority? How can I question authority? How can I dive a little deeper, dig a little deeper here? What hasn't been done before? So indeed, there could be some new creative vision or experience that comes through here. There could also be some transformations and renewals tied to your friendships and clubs and groups and group participations that triggers a new hobby or triggers a different way of approaching your hobbies, or even triggers a different way of approaching your romantic relationships. For example, a breakthrough could happen with respect to how you approach your romantic relationships, or it could be that suddenly you decide to do something differently when it comes to romance and pleasure. Even sex could be a part of this, Capricorn. Now, with Pluto in the 1st house making that trine to the full moon, we do see the closing of a chapter with relation to your life path, your aims, your goals. We see here things coming to a close, the end of a cycle related to your identity, how you approach the world, thinking about your world. So your outlook when it comes to the world, and also when it comes to yourself, right? So thinking about the relationship that you have with your body. This could be about your physical appearance. So indeed, we could see massive changes, a massive era coming to a close, and those life lessons that you can carry forward with you, right? Life lessons and maturity to do with self-respect, to do with integrity, to do with responsibility. And we could also look at this through a lens of you valuing yourself, valuing what you have to offer, and valuing how much hard work you have put in all of these years, and the mountains you've climbed, the ways in which you have overcome obstacles, and thinking about your successes there. How can you use this full moon as an opportunity to recognize your successes, to recognize your wins, and to celebrate, I think, to celebrate yourself in many ways, to recognize yourself in many ways, Capricorn. Even with Venus, right? So Venus is in your first house. Venus rules the 10th and the fifth houses. So I think this is about celebration, right? Even the fifth house is a house of celebration. So indeed, celebrating yourself, and even celebrating in some respects your accomplishments and your achievements. Again, we go back to success, especially with the 10th house being a part of this. Hey, you know what? Maybe this is even about reaping rewards with respect to your career path. Maybe this is about greater recognition there amongst the public. Maybe this is about your reputation and status, and all these kinds of things could come up where, again, we bring it back to you recognizing yourself. But hey, just overall, with Venus being in your first house, we could look at this as you being rather attractive around this time. It's time for that glow up, right? Having or experiencing a bit of a glow up, especially because Pluto has been in your first house, and so you could come out of Pluto being in your sign, and look at it as, my goodness, I'm such a badass. I got through that. I'm amazing. Thank you so much, Capricorn. And now we're going to move on to Aquarius. So Aquarius, we have the full moon happening in your fourth house. So back in May of 2023, the new moon happened in Taurus in your fourth. So intentions were set with respect to your living situation, thinking especially about your family life, experiencing greater stability in your family there, thinking about your values with relation to family as well. And hopefully as well, this has been about greater feelings of contentment and ease within your life, and just making that a big priority. So the full moon is going to bring clarity to such feelings and experiences. We could even see this as your relationships with family members changing, perhaps in unexpected ways, especially with Uranus being a part of this. Perhaps we also see your financial position, or your physical security position with respect to your living situation there, and how, again, you might seek new options, you may seek alternatives. There could be breakthroughs when it comes to saving for a home, for example. There could be breakthroughs when it comes to your emotional attachments and your comforts there. There could also be something new that's ushered in, something surprising that's ushered in with respect to your family values and your family traditions. There could be a whole new way that you seek to do things. The other thing about this, of course, is that such experiences could come unexpectedly, but in a way that's not within your control. So you might not be able to help it or control the outcomes. For example, this could be about other family members going through a lot of shifts and changes. And well, there's not really anything that you can do about that. That's more about what's happening with them. Then again, this could also just be that there are certain things about the economy that are outside of your control, and how those shifts and those changes, they can impact and influence your living situation. Now, with the sun shining its light on the moon, hey, we could see that your professional lives or your career path triggers this change, or triggers this renewal, or this unexpected shift. We could see this as you wanting to gain greater recognition, greater success within your career. And then again, this is where we notice those alternatives, right? Maybe playing around with other creative ideas as a way to see how you can do things differently in a way where, you do gain more resources or where you feel a bit more steady and level. On the other hand, this does not necessarily just have to be about your career path or about even accomplishments and achievements. This could also be about purpose. This could be about your public image, your reputation. So such matters, again, these areas could somehow play a role in how you change things within your family home, within your living situation. There could be some kind of transformation, for example, when it comes to your public persona, your public identity, right? There could be a renewal on your part. And so it's enough to activate this shift within you, this change within you. Hey, you know what? Maybe this is partly about relationships. This is partly about partnerships, marriage, commitment there. We see this because Leo is in the seventh, and so the sun is the ruler of your seventh. Furthermore, when we look to Pluto is finishing up in your 12th, and so Pluto is making a trine with the full moon, and so therefore, we do see this, I think, as more of an inner experience, right? We see this as emotional shifts, spiritual shifts, something that's coming to a close with relation to your psyche, something that's coming to an end with relation to your spiritual practices, or we could even see this as another kind of breakthrough, like an emotional breakthrough, a spiritual breakthrough, which is enough to make you change your priorities or change your path or your direction in some respects. And essentially, I just think this is one last release, one last sort of epiphany or sudden realization to do with your subconscious and your dreams. And so Pluto then will enter your sign from the 19th of November, where it will stay for the next 200 years. So you can look at it as bring those life lessons forward, bring the ways in which you have matured from the inside out, bring them forward. Think about how you've been doing so much of that inner work. You've been really working with the subconscious mind all these years, and things have been heavy, things have been difficult, there have been many defeats and challenges. So it could just be an opportunity for you to take a moment to go, hey, you know what, I've overcame a lot and I've grown a lot and I'm much wiser now because I'm here, right? I've grown up. I've really grown up. And you can also welcome that loss, if it is that there's grief, that is a part of this next step for you. It's having that maturity to also carry forward that grief into the next era. And so basically, I think it's just important to maybe just pause, take this full moon as an opportunity to pause, to have one more take one more look at which loose ends you want to tie up, okay, with respect to your family, your home life. And we could also look at this through a lens of breaking cycles, breaking patterns and habits that no longer serve you for the long run. Which patterns and cycles do you not want to carry forward with you into the next chapter? But I also do feel a need to mention that, remember, it's not as black and white as this. It's not as black and white as this either. And it's okay to repeat cycles too. Just remember that. Like if there is a cycle that's repeated at times, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's still about being able to learn from it. But I think that you're at a point, though, that you are learning, you have been learning, and you should be proud of yourself, Aquarius. Now, with Venus also being in your 12th, hey, this could be about indulgence, a little bit of indulgence, some pleasure, healthy escapism. If there are certain plans you want to put into place with respect to business or finance or your resources with Venus being in Capricorn, can you maybe take that time to go over such matters? Some time to reset, some time to recharge, Aquarius. Then again, you know what? This could be about using your imagination, visualization, when it comes to these areas too, right? When it comes to your financial landscape, for example. Okay, Aquarius, thank you very much. Now we're going to move on to Pisces. Lastly, we have Pisces. So Pisces, this full moon will happen in your third house. Let's think about May 2023. The new moon in Taurus happened in your third, ushering in a new set of intentions, planting new seeds to do with things like social media, social networking, communication, thinking about even vehicles, how you get from A to B. Something about your neighborhood could have been highlighted there as well. So more of those local area matters being very much activated. So the full moon will bring some kind of clarity to these situations. There will be a release. You can shed old skin. Maybe you can even switch things up, or you could seek alternatives, explore new options to do with these very areas, right? So, for instance, maybe this is about new options, seeking alternatives to do with communication, the delivery of communication. This could be about new vehicles, new transportation, maybe upgrades could be available there, or this could be an unexpected shift there, right? There could be something accidental, something that happens outside of your control to do with vehicles. This could even be about um, something unexpected that happens as you get from one place to another, right? So thinking about your commute to work, for example, right? There could be some epiphany that comes to you, and that is to do with resources. It's to do with your finances, how you basically earn money there, right? So yeah, there could be some kind of mental shift or mental clarity that happens. And hey, this stuff could be somehow tied in with group involvements, investments, certain corporations or organizations that you want to invest in. Or we could look at this as stocks and shares. We could also look at this through a lens of you hosting your own teams or your own groups in some way, shape, or form. I'm saying this because Venus is in the 11th as well. Now, we could also look at this through a lens of being quite innovative and inventive when it comes to communication or when it comes to education as well. Okay, so yeah, there could be these epiphanies and these exciting new ideas that happen for you, Pisces. And again, I do think that a part of this is tied in with how you earn money in some way, shape, or form. Now, the sun is in the ninth, shining its light on the moon. So, this could be about something transformative with relation to how you publish, how you share, how you broadcast. There could be a renewal, there could be a transformation so the renewal and the transformation to do with your higher education or to do with how you publish or broadcast, those things could very well trigger the surprises and the unexpected and the epiphanies, right? It's just like eureka, or aha, I've got it, or this is how I want to deliver the information, or this is what I want to say, and this is the message that I have for the world. uh, Maybe this is partly about you teaching or being a bit of a mentor, being a bit of a lecturer, for instance. So indeed, we could just see some shifts happening within these areas for you, which again could be surprising, could be jarring, but could also be exciting and exuberating. Then we also want to think about how the group is very much involved in all of this. Okay, teamwork is a part of this with Pluto finishing up in the 11th. This is about the quality of your teams, the quality of how you connect with others, how you join forces with others, thinking about togetherness with the 11th house. Maybe a part of this too is about challenging the status quo, doing your own thing, breaking some kind of communication cycle or group cycle there. This could even be about challenging authority within the group in some way, shape, or form. But basically, there is a closing of a chapter, okay? There's the end of a cycle happening when it comes to these areas. And then, like I said, Venus is still in the 11th there. So we could also look at this as, well, other people's gains, attracting others within the group, being a part of the group, and feeling a sense of security as well within the group. And let's think about how Venus rules your 8th and the 3rd. So sure, we could look at this through a lens of your ways of educating standing out within the group. And so maybe this is where we're going to see financial success in some way, shape, or form, or we're going to see recognition on your part. But we could also look at this through a lens of maybe exploring the occult. We think about divination with the 8th house, what sets you apart there within these areas. Or this is about collaboration, collaborating with others who maybe are on the same wavelength. But with that part to the side, this could also be something about shared resources or joint financial planning with a business partner or with your significant other, and then you sort of coming together and going over the business plan for the future. What are your aims? Okay, what are your hopes for the future there? And so the full moon could maybe bring some kind of clarity to do with these areas as well. Okay, everyone, so this has been the full moon in Taurus. Thank you all so much for listening. And if you would like to book a reading with me, you can visit my website, hannahselsewhere.com. And if you did really enjoy this live stream today, you can always buy me a coffee, but there is never any pressure to do anything. It's really up to you. And overall, I'm just really grateful that you have been here today, and I hope that you have found the information to be helpful. Please make sure to comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff to keep up to date with more content from myself, more astrology videos. And again, thank you for being here, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye!